Welcome back to Pokemon episode summaries. Today, I'll be doing episode 219, The Perfect Match. The episode begins right where the last one left off, where it was revealed that Ash and Misty would be facing each other in the second round of the World Cup, which also happened to be the quarterfinals. Ash and Misty didn't want to face each other yet, but they knew that this was their only chance now, so they both promised to give it their all and try their best to make it to the semifinals, with each of them declaring that they would win. With Brock remarking how Ash and Misty were always destined to fight each other, they were just doing so earlier than they anticipated. So, Ash and Misty were then revealed to be the first battle of the quarterfinals, so they walked out to the stadium and stood on opposite sides. Before the battle began, though, at the announcement tower, Officer Jenny had come to alert Maya that the police office had received a mysterious call from an unknown caller who threatened to steal the Sea Spirit staff. So it was like they did a fucking calling card from Persona 5. Maya, however, was not intimidated by this threat whatsoever, as she reassured Jenny that there had been many attempts to steal the valuable staff, but every attempt has failed. Meanwhile, Team Rocket, being the ones who had made the call, were still disguised as food and drink servers, and they had eavesdropped on Officer Jenny and Maya's conversation, spying on them, hiding behind a wall in the announcement area. It was then revealed that Jessie was more so the only one who wanted to send that call, as she was really the only one who still wanted to get the staff at this point, as James and Meowth were back to just wanting to make money selling food and drink. However, Jessie assured Meowth and James that they were going to steal the staff, whether they liked it or not, leading James to question how they would do so, with all of the cops now being on guard, since they had made the call, stating that that call was a dumbass idea. Jessie countered, however, that the call was actually genius, as now all of the cops would be focused on guarding Maya from the ground, so Team Rocket could go in their balloon and steal the staff from above, and none of the cops would be able to reach them, since they would all be down on the ground, and therefore not by any helicopters that they could use to give chase. After Jessie had reassured them, James and Meowth's doubts are instantly erased, and they agreed to help Jessie steal the staff. Now, without further ado, it was time for Ash and Misty's battle to begin. But before it began, there was one more thing that the referee had to specify, which was that unlike the first round, these battles would be 2-on-2. Ash and Misty acknowledged this, and sent out their first Pokemon, with Misty sending out Poliwhirl and Ash sending out Totodile, who started off the battle by using a water gun. Unfortunately, Poliwhirl managed to dodge by jumping into the water. It then swam through the water extremely quickly, and used this speed as momentum to jump high into the air, and land a bubble attack on Totodile. This attack weakens and distracts Totodile, so Misty takes the opportunity to attack the distracted Totodile using Double Slap. However, Totodile was able to snap out of it, and duck to avoid the Double Slap. It then goes in for a headbutt attack, hitting Poliwhirl back into a pillar. However, Poliwhirl uses this pillar to its advantage as it kicks off it for some momentum, and then uses the momentum to do a high-speed tackle for Poliwhirl, and after landing the tackle, it goes for a double slap, which Ash tries to counter with Water Gun. However, Poliwhirl jumps out of the way, and lands the double slap, which was fatal, knocking Totodile out. So, Ash is forced to recall it into its Pokeball, and send out his second Pokemon, which was of course, Kingler, as Misty celebrates her win with her Poliwhirl, and commands it to use Bubble on Kingler. While this was going on, Team Rocket were still spying on all of the police officers who were guarding the staff, and they planned to steal it, just waiting to make the perfect move. Anyways, back to the battle. Although a few of the bubbles hit Kingler, Kingler was able to deflect most of them using its claw, and then also used its claw to use Crab Hammer. Although it hits Poliwhirl, it wasn't Kingler's main target. Its main target was simply to hit the water, as the Crab Hammer was so ferocious. It created an energy sphere that in turn created some whirlpools. Brock and Pikachu watch in the audience, along with Togepi, as the whirlpools then create even more energy, releasing the energy that they got from the Crab Hammer, and this energy hits Poliwhirl, knocking it into the water, straight into the whirlpools. The whirlpools then take Poliwhirl to the other side of the stadium, where Kingler was, leading Kingler to strike Poliwhirl yet again with a full-force Crab Hammer, knocking Poliwhirl out. As Ash celebrates, bragging that he was going to win, since luck was now on his side, Misty recalls her Poliwhirl, and goes to send out her second Mon, Corsola. However, Psyduck forcibly pops out of its Pokeball first, forcing Psyduck to be her second Mon. It then embarrasses itself, as soon as it popped out of the Pokeball, it didn't land on the platform, but instead in the water, and since it couldn't swim, it began flailing around, which just embarrassed Misty as well, as she scolded Psyduck for coming out and ruining her flawless reputation up to this point. Sure enough, the audience, as well as Maya, were extremely confused at Psyduck's behavior, as it was supposed to be a water Pokemon, so it should have been able to swim. As Misty scolded Psyduck some more, telling it to quit fucking embarrassing her, Psyduck somehow managed to not drown and climb onto the platform, meaning that it was ready to battle. Ash obviously knew that sending Psyduck wasn't Misty's initial plan, but he wasn't going to complain, because he figured defeating Psyduck would be easy as fuck. So, he just told Kingler to go up to Psyduck and use a Vice Grip, and Kingler obliges, swimming up to Psyduck's platform and grabbing it with its claw, square on the head. Misty tried to command Psyduck to dodge or fire an attack before the Vice Grip hit, but Psyduck was too scared, and was now trapped in Kingler's claw, unable to do anything. Misty once again tried to command Psyduck to do something, suggesting that it shake itself loose from the claw, but Psyduck was still too scared to do anything, and simply kicked its feet in frustration and pain. Misty then realized that Psyduck was in pain, specifically in the head, since Kingler had grabbed onto its head, and knew that this was a good thing, as due to Psyduck having a headache, it could now unleash its powerful psychic attacks. Sure enough, Psyduck's eyes begin to glow blue, leading Misty to celebrate, and Ash to realize that he has made a goddamn mistake, as he remembers Psyduck's psychic powers. He quickly orders Kingler to remove its grasp from Psyduck's head, in an attempt to remove the headache, so that Psyduck couldn't use its psychic powers, but it was too late, as Psyduck managed to use Confusion, which created a psychic surge of energy that blasted right into Kingler, sending him flying backwards into Ash, injuring Ash and knocking Kingler out. Meaning that Ash didn't have protagonist power this time, as he had actually lost, and Misty had got her first ever victory against him, also therefore advancing to the semifinals. Leading Misty to celebrate, as Ash recalled Kingler, and she actually congratulated Psyduck on managing to get her a win for once. Misty complimenting Psyduck? Whoa, no way. Meanwhile, as Team Rocket was waiting for the perfect moment to strike in their Meowth balloon, still spying on the announcement area from behind a wall, they noticed that even more cops were now gathering around Maya, and this initially scared them as they feared that they would get caught. However, Jessie reminded James and Meowth that they wanted all of the security to gather up in one place, and continued to wait. Anyways, the semifinals weren't till tomorrow, so Ash and the gang decided to return to the Pokemon Center to sleep for the night, and Ash took the opportunity to call Professor Oak on the computer to tell him that he had unfortunately lost, and also check on how Bayleaf was doing. However, when Oak picked up, he looked extremely injured, leading Ash and the gang to question why this was, which in turn led Oak to clarify that he was actually about to call Ash and request that he take his Bayleaf back. So he was actually happy that Ash had lost in the tournament, as now Ash didn't need Kingler anymore, so he could take Bayleaf back, which Oak begged. Ash did want Bayleaf back, however, he questioned why Oak wanted him to take Bayleaf back so much, not understanding that Oak's injuries had been caused by Bayleaf attacking him. Ash finally does realize, though, as when Bayleaf heard Ash talking on the computer, it instantly ran up to Oak and tackled him to the ground, injuring him even more, and took his place by the computer, spotting Ash and begging him to take her back, crying at the fact that she wasn't with him. Upon seeing this, Ash decides that he wanted to make Bayleaf happy and prevent Oak from being injured some more, so he sends Oak back his Kingler in exchange for Bayleaf, much to Bayleaf's delight, who jumps out of her Pokeball and body slams Ash, showing her affection towards him and how grateful she was to be back. Just then, a girl trainer comes up, and Misty and Brock instantly recognize her as another World Cup contestant, who was very good. So good, in fact, that their round earlier in the day resulted in them winning in a clean sweep. Brock, impressed by this feat, which occurred in the 6th match of the day, tried to go up to her and flirt with her, only for the girl to ignore him and instead go up to Misty, introducing herself as Trinity and revealing the fact that she had just found out from Nurse Joy that Misty was going to be her semi-final opponent, stating that she had watched Misty's battles and was very impressed by her skills, wishing her good luck in their battle. Misty wished her good luck as well, complimenting her skills too, although Misty was secretly very concerned on if she was actually going to be able to beat Trinity, since she knew how powerful Trinity was. Misty hid her concerns though, and her and Trinity both promised to give it their all in their battle. The next day, it was time for the semi-finals, which would of course result in the two winners of these matches going to the finals. The first match was Misty versus Trinity, with Misty sending out her Poliwhirl as her first Pokemon, and Trinity sending out her Gyarados, which obviously scared Misty due to her fear of Gyarados. But she swore that she wouldn't let her fear get to her. As for Team Rocket, they were still waiting behind the wall of the announcement area for the perfect moment to strike, as even more guards arrived. Although Jessie was still confident in her plan, even she, along with James and Meowth obviously, were getting impatient at all the waiting they had to do for all the guards to arrive, and decided to watch Misty and Trinity's battle while they waited. The battle then began, as Misty tried to go for the first attack, telling Poliwhirl to use Bubble, but before the Bubble could make contact, Gyarados had charged up a Hyper Beam and fired it straight at the Bubble, as it literally decimated the bubbles and shot through them, knocking out Poliwhirl in one single attack. As Misty recalled Poliwhirl, Ash and Brock were very concerned in the stands, noting how grim the situation looked, as Misty was already down to her last Pokemon. However, Misty didn't want to show her concerns, so she appeared confident and sent out her Corsola. Ash then remarked to Brock how maybe Misty would have a chance after all due to sending in her Corsola, since Corsola could use Mirror Coat to reflect the Hyper Beam. But Brock reminded Ash that Hyper Beam was a normal type attack, so the Mirror Coat wouldn't do that much work, since the Mirror Coat was meant to reflect special attacks that were of other types. Brock, however, was actually mistaken, as Mirror Coat would work on Hyper Beam, and Brock eventually realized his mistake. It didn't really matter though, as Gyarados didn't go for Hyper Beam anyways, it went for Hydro Pump. Corsola did still use Mirror Coat though, which was able to reflect the Hydro Pump back before it hit her, and hit the Gyarados instead. However, Gyarados is able to not get hit by its own attack either, and actually sends it back to Corsola by using a Hyper Beam, though even after the Hyper Beam was essentially playing hot potato between going from Corsola to Gyarados to Corsola, the Hyper Beam only ends up hitting a wall, along with the Hydro Pump, as Corsola managed to dodge both by going into the water. Corsola then waits in the water for a little bit to make the Gyarados get cocky, as it was fully prepared for Corsola to come out of the water, and it was just waiting. However, Corsola then managed to startle the Gyarados by jumping out of the water and use Spike Cannon on it, knocking it into a pillar, knocking it out. This forced Trinity to recall Gyarados and send in her second Pokemon, Chinchou, with Trinity remarking that Misty just got lucky with taking out her Gyarados, and she wouldn't let her Chinchou go down. Misty tried to deny that it was just luck, but she panicked as she realized that Corsola was extremely tired out from the battle with Gyarados. This allows Chinchou to go in for the first attack, being a Spark, although Trinity orders Chinchou to aim its Spark directly at the sky. This makes the Spark touch the clouds in the sky, and the mix of the clouds and the electricity creates a huge electric blast that fires down on Corsola. Misty managed to counter by using Mirror Coat, sending the electricity back at the Chinchou, but the Chinchou took no damage from the electric attack, not even flinching. To make matters worse, the spark was so strong that Corsola wasn't able to fully deflect it, so it had actually taken some damage still, meaning that it was damaged and Chinchou was not. Trinity then ordered her Chinchou to fire a confuse ray across the entire stadium. However, it didn't hit the water, so Corsola was able to avoid the confuse ray by diving underneath the water. However, Chinchou then simply just dips its antenna into the water and uses confuse ray in the water this time, meaning that Corsola got confused, also being knocked out of the water onto the platform in the process. And with Corsola now confused, it couldn't use Recover to restore its health when Misty ordered it to, meaning that Chinchou could finish it off with a single water gun, meaning that Misty had lost the battle and Trinity had won, causing the entire audience to cheer. As Trinity celebrates making it to the finals, Misty realizes that her Corsola and Poliwhirl were extremely tired out from the battle, so she decides to take them to the Pokemon Center, where they were going to sleep for the night anyways. When Misty went back to the Pokemon Center, Ash and Brock eventually followed. However, they stayed in the stands for a little bit longer to watch Trinity as she practiced against several of the World Cup competitors who had since lost, requesting that they help her train for her battle in the finals. Meanwhile, Team Rocket was still waiting behind the wall of the announcement area, and even watching all of Trinity's battles weren't keeping them entertained. They were severely bored from waiting for so long. So, at Meowth and James' request, Jessie agreed that they would quit waiting. It didn't matter if all of the cops hadn't gathered yet. They were gonna try first thing tomorrow during the finals to steal the staff from their Meowth balloon. Later that night, Misty was still waiting for Nurse Joy to finish treating her Poliwhirl and Corsola at the Pokemon Center as Ash and Brock arrived, along with Trinity. Trinity congratulates Misty on her skills, informing her that she believed they had a very good battle today, with Misty agreeing and wishing Trinity good luck in the finals, congratulating her on making it this far. Ash and Brock then jump in, congratulating Trinity as well, and informing her that the two of them, along with Misty, would be cheering her on in the finals tomorrow. Sure enough, tomorrow eventually came, and the finals was about to begin. It was a trainer who was the winner of Block A with his Feraligatr versus the winner of Block B, Trinity, with her Golduck. Just before the battle could begin, though, Togepi and Pikachu, in the stands, noticed something flying in the sky, and alerted Ash, Misty, and Brock, who then noticed what Togepi and Pikachu saw, being none other than Team Rocket's Meowth balloon. They had come to steal the staff from above, just as they had planned, and they wasted no time either, as Jessie and James then took out fishing rods that had Wobbuffet hooks attached to them. But James was laughing so hard at the fact that he was using a fishing rod to ruin the days of Pokemon trainers who loved fishing since they were water trainers that he missed the staff. Jessie, on the other hand, didn't though, and began pulling up the staff with her fishing hook. However, before Jessie could begin reeling in the staff, Pikachu then stepped in as it jumped from the stands and used Thunderbolt, cutting the fishing line and keeping the staff right where it was. Seeing Team Rocket attempt to steal the staff obviously made Officer Jenny realize that Team Rocket must have been the ones to have made that call, and tells the World Cup announcer to put the tournament on hold until Team Rocket was dealt with, knowing how dangerous it could be if they actually managed to get away with the staff. So, the announcer obliges and calls off the tournament for a little bit, bringing the audience's attention to the Meowth balloon, attempting to keep them entertained by talking about it. With the tournament interrupted anyways, Ash and Misty decided to head down into the stadium so that they could get closer to Team Rocket's Meowth balloon, and sent out their Totodile and Poliwhirl respectively, and command them to use Water Gun before James tried to lower his fishing rod to capture the staff again. Trinity and her opponent, along with their Golduck and Feraligatr, want to help as well, so they order their Golduck and Feraligatr to use Water Gun as well. So, all 4 Water Guns go blasting at Team Rocket. This sends their balloon plummeting at very high speeds up into the air, so that their balloon was too high, so James couldn't use his fishing rod, and Pikachu then sent Team Rocket blasting off with a Thunderbolt. Maya permits Ash, Misty, Trinity, and Trinity's opponent to come up to the announcement area so that she can thank them for protecting the Sea Spirit staff, and Brock takes the opportunity to come up as well, wanting to flirt with the beautiful Maya, the Sea Priestess. However, Misty drags him away by the ear as usual. Trinity and her opponent then return down to the stadium so the finals could actually begin, as Misty yells out to Trinity from the announcement area to do her absolute best, and clarifies that everyone was rooting for her to do her best. Unfortunately for Trinity, even with Misty wishing her luck and everyone rooting for her, as the finals continued, Trinity ended up losing to the trainer with his Feraligatr. The battle was a very hard-fought one though, as it took until evening for the battle to conclude, therefore meaning that the award ceremony couldn't begin until evening either. When the award ceremony does begin though, Maya instructs all the trainers who lost to go into the boats that they went in before the start of the tournament, except for Trinity, who got to join the winning trainer beside him since she got second place. Maya then gives the winning trainer the prize, being the Mystic Water Pendant, as the rest of the competitors, including Ash and Misty, as well as everyone in the stands, congratulates the winning trainer by clapping for him. The award ceremony then comes to a close as Maya raises up her staff toward the setting sun, and it glows as it unleashes more water Pokemon energy, which Maya explains would spread all over the stadium in preparation for next year's World Cup, so that there would already be water Pokemon energy distributed all throughout the stadium that would give the water Pokemon that would fight next year even more power. The effects of the Sea Spirit staff also showed the next day, as it caused the stadium to flood once again until next year, where it would be unveiled. The episode ends with Ash and the gang watching the stadium get overtaken by water once again, as they reminisce on all of the fun battles they had during the World Cup, as well as the new friends they made and the new Pokemon they saw, with Misty remarking that because of the World Cup, she now was even more set on becoming a water Pokemon expert, loving water Pokemon now more than ever.